Hello friends, it's Christine Vicenti from Queen City Stamp Art, and I'm back today for a clean and simple Sunday card. Today I thought we would use the It Starts With Art stamp set, which also has a coordinating die set that we'll also be using some images on. I thought I would mention that the die sets don't come with this magnetic sheet. What I do is, normally the dies come in this nice envelope and they're stuck to a cardstock piece that has some strips of tape that these stick to. And that's fine for storage, but I use my dies a lot, so I need it to be as easy as possible to get the dies off and back on and keep everything looking nice. So what I do is I take vent covers that I get at either Walmart or Amazon. You can get vent covers that they're made for HVAC, like air conditioning vents, and they're big. They're like 15 inches by 10 inches or something, and you can get these pretty inexpensively. I can get a couple of sheets of that for like $3. And then what I do is I take when I get a new die set, I measure the sheet that the dies come on, and I cut a piece of the vent sheet to match that size. So the vent sheet is white on one side, but this side doesn't have a good magnetic hold like this side does, so I put them on the dark side. I just peel them off and stick them on the sheet, and then they fit perfectly in the envelope because I cut it to match the size. So that's kind of how I store my dies when I get them, my die sets. So this die set is really wonderful. As you can see, it does match up with a few of the different images, so you can get a lot of different shapes cut out. This little label shape is right here. You can make labels that have that design on them. And then there's also some buttons that you can stamp and cut the button out, or you can just cut these button shapes out, which we're going to do today on the card. And what's really nice about this, I don't know if you can really see it, it's hard to see, but the buttons actually are embossed with stitching and a little scallop shape, so they're very pretty. A lot of really thoughtful detail went into making this die set. Another thing I love is that they offer you some border dies that are fun to use in your stamping projects, and we're going to use this border die today. I created a little lace strip for under the sentiment, so that's going to be fun. So why don't we get started? One other die set that I love and use regularly are the layering square framelit dies from Stampin' Up. This set is so versatile and useful. You can get all different square shapes and then some really cool scallop bordered, like scalloped edge squares as well, that layer perfect with the regular straight squares. So a lot of versatility in this die set. I've gotten a lot of use out of it, and it's one of my favorites. So what I thought we would do today, we're really only using the sentiment Follow Your Art from this stamp set. There's a lot of fun things you could do with it, but I thought for the Clean and Simple card today we would use just the sentiment Follow Your Art. And I'm pairing that with, as I mentioned, a few of the button dies, the scalloped lacy border, and then the woven threads pattern paper to create an interesting background or backdrop for this little cluster of images and die shapes. So what really constitutes a Clean and Simple card? Well, in my mind, it's a lot of white space to rest the eye. It's a smaller design on a bigger palette, so I like to keep the scale about like this. And sometimes I have my focal points here, sometimes I have them over here. Today we're going to kind of put it in the upper part of the middle. And then I try to limit the embellishments and the colors. So today we're using more colors than I normally would in a Clean and Simple design, but I felt like it was warranted since we're not really stamping very much. We're not using much for stamped images. So I thought the pattern paper would be fun and add some interest to the design. So let's get started with this one. So the first thing I did was I layered these two pieces together so they'd have a chance to dry. And I don't have to use a ton of glue, just a little to keep the paper glued to the cardstock. Just going to center that up. Okay. And then this piece gets glued right to the base card. I'm not going to pop this one up today. So again, just a little bit of glue. And I'm going to center it on here. Just like this. Very good. Then we're going to stamp the sentiment piece on this little piece. So I already have this on the block. This is a cling mount stamp, so we don't need that little Stampin' mat because it already has the pad here. Okay, and then what I did was I took my scissor and I just snipped at an angle to kind of finish the edge so it's not completely squared off. And then for this piece, I thought we would glue it to the little border strip. These little border strips are so pretty. They can add such a nice little detail to your card without a lot of extra layers. So I'm just going to glue that there and have it stick out a little bit on the bottom. The nice thing about the wet glue is it gives you time to adjust your pattern the way you, in your design, the way you want it before it's really solid. So then to glue it down, I was thinking I would pop it up with some dimensional adhesive here. So this little foam adhesive adds a little lift. And I like, this is probably going to end up in the mail, so I put some extra of this so it doesn't warp and get crushed in the mail. Normally 3 little pieces would be fine if you were just planning to hand the card to somebody. Okay, and then I'm just going to trim off some of the edge here. I'm going to leave a tiny bit sticking out because I like how that looks. There we go. There we go. Now I'm going to stick this down. Oh, actually, first what I think I'm going to do is use some of this gold rose thread. I love these little metallic threads. They cost $3.50 in the Stampin' Up! Catalog, and they're very useful and they last forever. I have a the gold one was the first one that came out, I think, and I still have so much of that gold one, and I use it a lot. So we're going to use the rose today, and you just kind of wrap it around your hand, trim it off, and then you have like a little coil of gold. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a dot of glue here and rub it with my finger to smooth it out. And then I'm going to take the ends and stick this down into the glue. Like this, right in my square. And it sort of creates this cute little nest. Oops, I'm all stuck to my project. That works great. And then you can stick some other things on top of it to hold it in place, which is what we're going to do. There we go. That looks great. Okay. Then I think I'm going to add these little buttons down with some glue. This one's going to have regular wet glue. Tuck that one right there. And then this one I'm going to pop up with another bit of foam adhesive. Just going to cover the holes in the button. And I'm going to layer it on top of this one. And then this little guy, I'm just going to tuck underneath the little banner strip. So it's peeking out. It's a little flower-shaped button. That one's cute. Just like that. And then, of course, to finish it, I'm going to add a rhinestone gem. Probably the bigger one. And just stick it right here. Like that. There we go. And that's it for today. So again, just to kind of recap, we used the Woven Threads pattern paper as the background. This includes, I should mention too, that this includes some of the new colors from the In Color series that started this year. We have Rococo Rose, Pink Posy, Terracotta Tile, and then my favorite is the Seaside Spray, which is that light blue color. So I wanted to incorporate some of the new colors, and it was easy to do that because the pattern paper has all those colors in it. So I hope you enjoyed the card today. If you have any questions, just leave me a question in the comments, or if you feel like making any comment about the cards, please feel free. I love the comments. I love to read the comments when people leave them. And of course, I'll respond. And if you would like any of the supplies I used today, you can pick those up at my website. You can go to Queen City Stamp Art and click on the shop tab. Thank you so much.